Are you having a hard time distinguishing what is coming from spirit when you're giving a mediumship reading and what is your own body? Are you having a hard time discerning what spirit is trying to say to you because you don't know if the feelings that you're feeling, the things that you're seeing, if you have produced those feelings? Hi, my name is Mel. I help students just like you learn how to step into their spirituality, whether it be through mediumship, psychic work, tarot work, anything that you want to reach consciously, I'm here to help you. If you want to sign up for one of my courses, get a private reading, or download one of the many free pieces of content I have, go onto my website, soulcareintuitive.com. I received a question from a viewer just like you asking me, how do I know if what I'm feeling, clairsentience, maybe what I'm seeing, clairvoyance, what I'm knowing, claircognizance, how do I know if what I'm getting is from spirit or if it's my own body giving me that information? So the very first thing I want to say is this. When you set up a spiritual business, when you start working spiritually, when you start connecting to consciousness, whether it be for mediumship, whether it be for your own development, the most important thing that you can do is set a boundary. Boundaries are absolutely necessary in everyday human life. When you are working with consciousness, when you are connecting to things outside of yourself, having a boundary is a must. And again, this is just my opinion. I want you to form your own opinions. I want to encourage you to go within and see if you align with this information. So one of the very first things I want to say besides a boundary is getting your connection as a medium to the spirit world, having that be your signal that you're working. Okay, so by that I mean, when I personally sit down to do a mediumship reading, when I sit in my chair to connect for a mediumship reading, my spirit team, my guides, my angels, spirit, they know that I'm ready to work. And if I'm not in a mediumship reading, they know not to connect to me. They know not to give me information. They know not to have feelings impressed upon me, clairsentience. They know not to have clairvoyance, images brought to me. Now, I do have one little caveat to that. I will allow my family and close friends who have passed away to do that, to connect to me whenever they want. But outside of that small caveat, I do not allow spirit to communicate with me when I'm not in a reading. And so my team knows when I sit down in my chair, I'm ready to connect to spirit. And from that very moment on, anything I feel, it could be a headache. Anything I know, it could be information, the name of a town, an age, a birthday, anything that I taste, mustard, for example, anything that I hear, birds chirping. From the moment I sit down, anything I get, I know it's for spirit. And then when I close my session with my client, I will say something along the lines of, thank you so much for providing me the opportunity to connect to your friends and family. That is my spirit team's cue, my guides, my angels, those in the spirit world to know this reading's over. No more information can come to me. So now I personally know anything that I feel, see, sense, smell is my own. This goes along with the statement I made in the beginning. You have to set a boundary. If you are completely open all the time, and I've had students say to me, I'm afraid to close off because I don't want to miss a message. Believe me when I tell you that the spirit world is so vastly knowledgeable. They are so connected. You are not doing a disservice to anyone in spirit by not being open. You're doing a disservice to yourself, okay? You're making yourself crazy. You're making yourself constantly wonder. You're making yourself constantly physically, energetically exhausted because you're constantly open, constantly getting hit with information. You might even be sick quite often. So when you're leaving yourself open because you feel a medium is supposed to always be open, you're setting yourself up for failure in yourself, in your own body. Setting up a boundary, in my opinion, is the best way to make sure that when you feel something, clairsentience, when you see something, clairvoyance, it's from spirit. When you are outside of that reading, everything else outside of a reading is you. So I really hope that this helps answer that question. I remember at the beginning of my mediumship journey, I was constantly having issues with fatigue. I was constantly exhausted. I never knew why. I constantly had headaches. I constantly had stomach issues, and I constantly had body aches, and I could never figure out why. It wasn't until one day I was sitting with my guides and I realized I don't need to always be on. I can turn myself off and only connect when I'm giving a reading. Spirit doesn't need me to always be on to make sure that things happen, okay? So when I turned my mediumship off and I set that boundary that said, only when I'm in a reading, I will connect. If I'm not in a reading, I do not want any spirit communication, period, except for the caveat of my friends and family. It changed everything for me. I stopped getting headaches. I stopped having the stomach issues. My body aches were gone, which I thought was crazy because I like to work out, but the body aches were not from that. They were something completely different. They were like dark holes, like draining me is what I felt they were. All of that went away when I set the boundary. Now, when you set boundaries, it might not happen right away. You might still get those communications. What you do is just to keep reaffirming, only when I'm in a reading. If you feel a spirit and you're not in a reading, you tell them, I'm sorry, you have to go. This is my boundary. Spirit respects your boundaries. They want you to have boundaries, okay? So don't be afraid to set a boundary to only when you're in a reading. This, in my opinion, is the best way to know whether you're getting information from spirit or whether it's from yourself. And again, in my opinion, you don't always want to be on because it's going to be very draining and very taxing on you. I hope this video really helped you find clarity and get some information that can help you in your mediumship journey. Again, I don't want you to do everything I say because I say it. I want you to find the answer for yourself. My dog's trying to get my attention. I want you to find the answer for yourself. I want you to connect to your own intuition and see what your intuition tells you. Here's Delilah. Tells you about your mediumship journey. Do you need to set that boundary? Do you need to set that block in your mediumship? Find what works for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do remember to like the video, leave a comment, even if it's just a cute emoji, even if you just want to say hi. Every piece of engagement you give helps me so much. If you want to book a private reading with me, take my beautiful mediumship course, or be part of my freebies on my website where I have free meditations, free downloads, free videos, go to my website, soulcareintuitive.com. I cannot wait to see you over there.